Hey, good morning, Drivetime. Today's going to feel a little different, going to look a little different because it's just me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dave Drum. I'm blessed to be serving in the capacity of men's director here at Cape Christian. And along with a team of some really incredibly talented and gifted men, we run CapeMEN, and we do it for you guys. So why is it just me? Well, because I'm on vacation right now. I'm in North Carolina, just outside of Sapphire. And for those of you wondering why I would do a video while I'm on a family vacation, it's mainly because I feel like I've got something to tell you guys about. So just 2 days ago, my wife and my 10-year-old daughter and we went out, I'll call it hiking, because by Florida standards, it is hiking. There was a lot of ups, downs, trees, not flat ground, not palm trees. So we're hiking, and we're going to go see a very well-known waterfall in the area, Rainbow Falls. But in order to get to Rainbow Falls, it takes almost 2 miles to get out to where the falls are at. And it's a long trek. Now, it had been raining earlier in the morning, which actually was awesome because there was almost no one else on the trail. And we got to take our time and play around, and we went down to the river several times, and it's just gorgeous. And we got to, skip rocks and just marvel in the power of this river, the way it moves rocks and just creates shapes, and the fact that God created all of that. It's amazing. So after several trips down to the river and just continuing to walk, and we were probably about 1.5 miles into this trail, maybe a little bit more. My daughter says, and again, she's 10, that she's tired, that she wants to go back to the car. She's done. And my wife and I, we encouraged her to keep on, that we were almost there. We knew that we were getting close. We could hear the falls in the distance. And she begrudgingly obliged and continued to press on. And it wasn't that she wasn't enjoying it. I mean, she had seen some really cool stuff, and she had experienced all that nature had around us. But she was tired. She was physically spent and emotionally worn out from the travel leading up to this trip, and just getting up early to get out to this trail early. But maybe a 1/4 mile later, we went up another hill and around a corner, and there in front of us was Rainbow Falls. And I'm going to try, I'm not a tech savvy guy, but we're going to try and get a shot of a video or a photo of this waterfall so that you guys can understand just how amazing it was, especially at the end of almost 2 miles in the woods, when you don't get to see really much of what's around you, only what's directly in front of you. And now once we got there, I mean, my daughter was just in awe of how big this waterfall was, and the sound and the mist blowing through the air. It was really, really amazing. But it just made me think about our walk with Christ as men. I mean, how many times have we been just that close to something amazing that God's got for us, and we get tired, and we're emotionally spent, and we're physically worn out, and we just don't want to do it anymore. And it's not that we haven't seen awesome things, because just like my daughter, we've spent time with God. We've felt his grace, and we've experienced all these amazing things that he has planned for us. But then he wants us to go a little further. He wants us to go a little bit deeper with him, and he's got something great for us if we'll just push through a little further. Well, that was my daughter 2 days ago, but it was me a couple of years ago, and I was resistant. I didn't want to take those extra couple of steps. I didn't want to go that little extra distance. But when I did, what God had for me, I mean, even this waterfall I saw 2 days ago can't hold a candle to everything that God's done in my life since then. So there's this lie in what I would call Western Christianity and American Christianity. And those of you who have spent some time around me on Thursday nights in the men's group, you've probably heard me talk about this. And I call it a lie on purpose. This idea that God's not going to give you more than you can handle. Well, the problem with that thought is if God never gives you more than you can handle, then what do you need him for? Why would you ever crawl on your hands and knees to the foot of our Savior and pray? Pray for him to hold you, to help you, to give you the strength to carry on. I mean, if you can do it all yourself, what do we need him for? It doesn't make any sense. And it's not supported anywhere in the Bible. In 1 Corinthians, there's verses that talk about not being tempted more than you can handle. But it never says that you're not going to get more than you can handle, that things aren't going to be more difficult than you can endure. Again, if God never went and allowed you to experience things that you can't handle on your own, why would you need him? And at the end of the day, in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, starting in verse 9, it says, "My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardship, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I'm strong. If God's grace, if God's strength is made perfect in our weakness, all the more reason for us to embrace our weakness." Guys, like I said, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this was me. I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't want to push anymore, but I knew God had more for me. And God's got more for you too. So if I can make any promise to you, it's that at some point in your walk, probably more than once, God's going to give you more than you can handle. And you should thank him for it. Now, in typical Drivetime fashion, I want to give you a tangible. I want to give you a takeaway, something that will help you this week. And it's quite simply this. Read 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Focus on those words. And for those of you in the season now, trust. Trust God to get you through it. He's gotten you through stuff before. And then reach out. Find a mentor. Find a pastor. If you don't have a relationship with a trustworthy, God-fearing guy at your church or at Cape Christian, wherever you're at, I just encourage you. This is God telling you. You need those relationships, because a time is going to come where you need to fall back on those relationships to help you hold on to God. So gentlemen, please don't give up. Don't turn back. Something amazing is just right around the corner. I'll see you all soon.